financially mostly, from what I see. Cause, it's all about, everyone wants to be a big shot, but they gotta pay the price. They have to know how to handle defeat.
If I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Into that.
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight.
Mike Tyson isn't pulling any punches when it comes to Jake Paul's bold new claim about beating Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The former heavyweight champion, famous for his brutal honesty as much as his ferocious knockouts, tore into Paul after the YouTuber-turned-boxer suggested he could topple one of sport's most feared warriors. Tyson, who has shown flashes of both support and criticism toward Jake's boxing journey, made it crystal clear sharing the ring with a pound-for-pound star like Davis is no joke, and he didn't hesitate to remind Jake about the massive gap between internet fame and true boxing greatness.
Quite surprised because it sounded like Jake Paul and Joshua was getting closer and closer for January. However, there have been rumours of Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul in the past. I think with Gervonta Davis's kind of legal problems in the last month or so and rumours about his retirement, I don't think it's a massive shock that he is taking this Jake Paul fight if it is going to go ahead, purely for the reason that it's a lot of money for maybe not the most difficult job that he's going to have in his career. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's just another kind of day in the sport, really, isn't it?
The showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis is locked in for November 14th at the Casa Center in Miami, Florida. Originally planned for Atlanta, the fight was relocated after the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission raised serious concerns about the massive weight gap separating the two men.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
Jake Paul steps in carrying a record of 12 wins, 7 by knockout, and just 1 defeat. He has transformed his influencer fame into a legitimate boxing path, built on headline-making crossover bouts and carefully crafted business moves.
People are like so fucking insecure. Kind of lost myself in the whole entertainment world. And so when I found boxing, it gave me that like routine, that discipline. I got to like take time for myself in these boxing camps. And every day for training, I had to like meditate. And boxing gave me the ability to like reflect on myself and like realizing who I was and who I wanted to be. And that helped me mature. You get addicted to that validation from others, and that's something that I realized that I had to face. And like, why do so many people want clout? I'm not good enough. I need followers. I need likes. It's driving a lot of our generation because they're working so hard to get this external validation.
Gervonta Davis stands undefeated with 30 wins, 1 draw, and a highlight reel of knockouts. He carries the WBA lightweight crown, though that belt won't be at stake here due to the glaring size gap. Instead, the fight is billed as an exhibition, with the usual rules of a professional bout, from round limits to weight restrictions and commission oversight, become far more flexible and open to negotiation.
25 is at the next year, I'm out of it.
After our second fight. You're out of it?
Yeah.
Care to elaborate on that?
Out of the sport.
After our second fight. Nah, no, I'm gonna win, bro.
Nah, I could tell you my fights.
Who do you think will win between Jake Paul and Gervonta?
But I don't know. It should be Gervonta, right? But the weight size and everything, we'll see. It's a fun entertainment.
Mike Tyson, who has already shared the ring with Jake Paul, has reportedly urged caution as Paul readies for his clash with Davis. Tyson knows firsthand the pressure and intensity that comes with facing Paul, but he also understands the real dangers of standing across from a fighter as sharp and explosive as Davis. While Paul carries size and youth in his favor, Tyson believes Tank's speed, refined skill, and knockout power make him a threat no matter the weight gap. His warning signals concern that Paul might be overlooking just how dangerous Davis truly is. For Tyson, the event may capture headlines, but he insists Jake must balance his legacy against the genuine physical risks.
I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now, but he's got a tough fight coming up. You know, he's the top dog, there's no doubt about it. He showed that, but Barrios, he's a pretty good fighter. Last time I saw him fight, he was pretty durable.
Eddie Hearn has voiced deep concerns about Jake Paul's clash with Gervonta, saying it's far more serious than just another spectacle. He warns that the fight may be dangerously uneven in terms of size, risk, and safety, and that Paul could walk away physically damaged. While he admits the financial payoff and public buzz are massive, Hearn believes the mismatch could result in Paul taking a beating that derails future plans, especially a potential showdown with Anthony Joshua. He explains that even with enormous commercial upside, the danger is too real to overlook. Though he gives the fight a 50-50 chance, his message is clear. Paul isn't only gambling with his record. In Hearn's eyes, he's gambling with his health.
We know that Gervonta is going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart bit of business.
I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight. But I truly believe you're going to see it at the beginning of 2026.
Carl Froch, the former super middleweight world champion, has voiced serious safety concerns over the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis exhibition, pointing to an estimated 65-pound weight gap between the two. Froch highlights that Jake Paul has recently competed close to the cruiserweight limit, near 200 pounds, while Davis typically fights at lightweight, around 135.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he's just so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
Froch argued that in the true boxing world, this kind of matchup would never be licensed, simply because the risk is too great. He stressed that Davis has never faced the challenge of absorbing shots from someone with Paul's sheer size and mass, warning that even a single heavy punch, especially one launched wild or from the hip, could cause serious, lasting damage.
My name was mentioned at his press conference and he shit himself, and the fight was just absolutely fucking diabolical. Again, I've said before, he's not a professional boxer. He never will be. And he proves time and time again that he's not a professional fighter. So, Jake Paul, go on, piss off.
Froch acknowledged that Davis possesses the skill, footwork, and ring IQ to dictate stretches of the fight. But in his view, Davis simply doesn't carry the kind of power needed to truly damage a man of Paul's size. And it's that unnatural weight advantage, Froch insists, that turns this contest from spectacle into genuine danger.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like
that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Frotch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Meanwhile, Chelsea, which could make the event less appealing outside the ring.
The exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So, there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay.
Joe Rogan has consistently defended Jake Paul's credibility as a boxer, arguing that much of the backlash comes from his celebrity background rather than his actual performances in the ring. Rogan points out that Paul has shown clean technique, real power, and effective offense in his fights, nothing that looks staged or fundamentally flawed. In his view, the more Paul proves himself against credible opponents, the harder it becomes for critics to deny his legitimacy.
Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul if he wasn't this YouTube guy. He was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. Knock him out with one punch like that. Like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's recent choices, most notably his victory over a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, expose a troubling pattern in his boxing career. Instead of proving himself against prime contenders, Paul is accused of chasing spectacles that generate buzz but lack true sporting merit. Former champion Carl Froch has been especially vocal, dismissing the Tyson fight as meaningless and claiming Paul's success is built more on entertainment value than genuine boxing skill.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there. But Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening. It's positioning. It's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
There's growing buzz that Jake Paul could be lining up his biggest fight yet, a blockbuster showdown with former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, potentially in early 2026. Paul's manager, Nakisa Bidarian, has confirmed that serious talks are underway, with venues like Wembley Stadium already being considered to stage the spectacle. Never short on confidence, Paul has doubled down on his belief that he can shock the world by upsetting Joshua, a claim that has fueled even more debate across the boxing world.
Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has admitted he's intrigued by a potential clash with Jake Paul, noting the fight could deliver massive attention and financial reward. But not everyone is sold. Critics argue Joshua would risk damaging his legacy by facing Paul, who many still dismiss as more entertainer than the elite contender. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is leaning into the hype, using these rumors to build momentum and positioning himself more and more as a dangerous wild card in the heavyweight division.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed-up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
Stephen A. Smith has been relentless in his criticism of Jake Paul's resume, pointing out that most of his opponents have either been past their prime or are not true elite boxers. According to Smith, Paul still hasn't proven himself against fighters at the top of today's game. Paul fired back by insisting he tried to fight Tommy Fury, claiming Fury initially turned him down. Eventually, the fight did happen in February 2023, and it became one of Paul's few matchups against a prime professional boxer. The result? Paul suffered his first and only defeat, a split decision loss that raised fresh questions about how he truly measures up against established fighters.
You are beating up on dudes who don't box. They're not boxers.
I was on Disney Channel while these guys were winning UFC championships.
Okay.
You know, I was playing with Mickey Mouse while these guys were throwing arm bars and winning UFC championships. Everyone's, you know, analyzing my career, critiquing it, paying attention to it from day one, but you can't tell me who was Mike Tyson's first fight. You can't tell me who Muhammad Ali, who was his fourth fight. No one knows, but everyone's seen all of my fights. I tried to fight Tommy Fury. Yeah, I tried to fight Tommy Fury, and he backed out due to a rib injury. Undefeated, young prospect. He comes from the Fury family. You know, his brother's the heavyweight champion of the world. I tried to fight him, and he got scared.
Stephen A. Smith blasted Jake Paul's decision to fight Mike Tyson, saying it proves Paul is more interested in spectacle than sport. Smith argued that if Paul truly wants respect in boxing, he should face opponents closer to his own age and skill level, not seasoned legends with decades of experience behind them.
Can't buy the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me to believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please with sugar on top. I'm interested.
What did you think about the fight, Jake Paul?
I hate it. And Jake Paul's starting to piss me off. Mike Tyson is 57 years old, man. Jake Paul been training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very, very, very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing. And I know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer. But then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers. Now he decides to fight a fighter, a real fighter, which is Tyson. But Tyson is 30 years older. Stop this nonsense of going against dudes that either ain't boxing or is 25 years removed from the sport.
Will Jake Paul's raw power crush Tank Davis? Or will Tank's skill and speed shut down the hype once and for all?